This video is all about how to relieve your back pain from home. In my experience, I've found that people primarily have back pain from a few different common places, either from stiffness in parts of their body, or from weakness, or from a lack of activation in some of the muscles that help to support and relieve stress on the back. If you're stiff, that primarily happens in your upper spine, your hips, or your ankles. If it's from a lack of strength, it's usually from your core, your ability to extend your hips, or from your calf. If you want to work in this from home, there's a few different ways that you can do it. The first and easiest one is just to make sure that your muscles are active enough to be able to loosen themselves in the appropriate ways and strengthen themselves in the appropriate ways. In order to do that, you can simply get moving, especially if you're someone who sits at the desk for a long time. The exercises that you can do from there would be to side bend, left and right, to allow some openness to happen through your upper spine. To do some simple things like high knees lifting. Get your knees up without feeling like your pelvis is going to roll under. And then also take your legs and move them backwards as if you're going to kick your butt. Then take your arms and swing them forward and backwards, and also up and down. If you do each of these exercises for somewhere between 30 seconds apiece, it will be enough to activate and warm up your body. And then you go for a nice walk for about 10 to 15 minutes at a brisk pace to allow your hips to get warm and strong so that your body can actually move like it was supposed to. Sometimes it's as easy as just getting up and moving. If you try those exercises and find that they aren't quite enough to help relieve your back pain, then you can add on foam rolling and a little series of exercises called the McGill 3 to help strengthen your hips and your core and get your body moving better. Foam rolling would take a little extra time that we want to spend in this video, so for now I'll just say go and search my YouTube channel and you'll find some more stuff on foam rolling. But the McGill 3 is a really interesting exercise system that starts with strengthening the core, then strengthening the back and core, then allowing you to be able to extend your hips. The first exercise is called a mini crunch. This exercise, you're going to put both of your hands underneath the small of your back, fingertips touching. You'll extend one leg down to the ground, and you'll do a tiny little crunch, just enough to get your head just an inch or two off the ground. You should feel your core kick on and working your abs. You feel like your ribs are starting to crunch down toward your hips. Hold there for about 10 seconds, then come back down. Do that again, hold for 10 seconds, try not to strain your neck. Come back down, do that again. You'll want to do that for about 3 sets of 10 seconds apiece. Keep making sure that you can control your chin and your chest. For some reason the mini crunch isn't working for you, there's another alternative exercise that you can do that's called the dead bug. For people with low back discomfort, I like to do this exercise with just your legs. In this one, you'll start out laying on your back. I like to put hands beneath your lower back and then take both legs up in the air. And the full exercise would be to extend down, bring the knee back up, extend down. And the whole time you're trying not to let your pelvis change positions. If you've got weakness here, your hips will try to stay closed and it will try to roll your pelvis out and down. The goal is to allow your leg to lengthen away so you can stretch the front of the hip and then bring it back up. Another alternative to this is to start with both legs in the air. You would bring one leg down to the ground and switch to the other side. The second one would be a side plank. Now, when a lot of people do the side plank, they end up finding more stress on their shoulders than on their sides. So there are a few different ways that you can do this. One is to start out on your knees. You'll simply lift your body up into the air, making sure that your hips and your rib cage feel like they're coordinating together so you can strengthen through the side. Hold there for 10 seconds or so. Most people I see when they mess this up will be in this position, but then their hips will rotate backwards so they feel this more in your back. You want to make sure that your hips are in the same position as your rib cage. Imagine like you've got a cup facing downward and another cup facing upward, and those tops are going to face toward each other. And we'll switch sides just to demo a little bit differently. Again, I'm keeping these cups nice and stacked. Another error that you'll tend to see is that the rib cage will want to flare out. You want to keep that connected, and you also don't want to be too far down or too far up, so you might need some help on this one. Once you've done 3 sets of 10 seconds on each side on that one, then we'll go for the bird dog. Bird dog exercise, you want to start out with a neutral spine, so nothing's going to move, and then as you start to extend, you want to be able to extend the leg without changing your spine position. Extend it as far as you can. You get some strength in your hamstring or your butt on this leg, on the up leg. And then you're going to take your hand and add it in like this. Only lift to where you feel like you don't have to sacrifice your lower spine. Bring it back together. Extend. If you've got back pain, you probably need to start out just using the leg first and then adding in the arm. And then bring it back. And then do the same on the other side. If you really want to work on these pretty aggressively, you want to do about 2 to 3 sets of 3 repetitions of the exercise for about 10 seconds each. Right after that, you want to go for a brisk walk to get all the muscles working together, and over time, this should help dramatically reduce your low back pain. If you feel like your main issue with your back pain is because of stiff hips, that may be a combination of some core weakness and some stiffness in the actual hips. Here are a few stretches to help you work with that. The first one you'd start out with is a frog stretch. In this stretch, you'll take your knees wide, hands down on the ground, and you're going to start to push your butt backwards so that you get some stretching through your groin. You don't want to be super aggressive on this. You want to move very gently. You want to be able to breathe through each stretch. Remember that if you hold your breath in a stretch, it will actually work against you because your nervous system will stop you from stretching into that position. We'll do these, roll through these about 3 seconds, about 5 repetitions. That'll stretch your groin. The next one we'll do is to come up to a half kneeling stretch to stretch your quads and your hip flexors. So we'll be here. Gently push forward, get a little bit of strengthening here. And if you have the ability to, you'd also want to grab your foot and pull your foot up towards your butt. You can also grab a cuff to stretch lower on your quad. Same deal, but you want to hold for about 10 to 15 seconds there, not a very long time. Next stretch that we can go to is for your glute medius. It's a little butt muscle on the outside. Take this, pull it over, very gently pull to the side. 10 to 15 seconds here on each side. Then the last stretch that you can do is to either take both legs, pull your toes towards you so you also stretch your calves and reach forward, or you can pull one knee up and just do one calf hamstring at a time and allow yourself to stretch out. Give those a whirl and tell me what you think. The 2 keys are get moving, give your body a little bit of stability, and then get out and be active.